Hello, good morning everyone. Good morning, sir. We are the Group 14 and we're going to explain what the operations, scheduling, and sequencing. So before we're going to start our topic, let me introduce to you my teammates who is Mark Dominic Riofro, Regina Antoinette Marica, and Samantha Ariel S. Porol. So, the content of this report is the concept of scheduling and sequencing. Number two, the importance of staff scheduling and appointment system decisions. Number three, it is the sequencing performance and criteria and rules, and the description how to solve the single and double resource sequencing problems and using the Gantt charts. That's all, and thank you.
So, hi everyone. Again, my name is Sam, and I am one of the reporter for today. So, yeah, let's start. Okay, I just wanted to ask, as a student, how do you usually manage your schedule for any school activities? So, as for me, on how I manage to schedule any school activities that I currently have is following following some methods or system, and that for one of the things is knowing what is the earliest due date that I currently have on my task, or yeah, on the projects or tasks that I need to pass. Whichever has the earliest due date, that's the first thing that I will going to do. Or if most of the tasks that I have a farther due date, I what I usually do is doing the first task that has wi- that has that is an easy task that it could be done within a couple of hours or within an hour, and then I will follow the harder task. So yeah, and since we will going to talk about scheduling and sequencing on for this topic, can you please, I just wanted to ask as well that can you please tell me what is the importance of studying, of scheduling and sequencing in our course or even in our life? So for me, the importance of knowing on how to efficiently or effectively do scheduling and sequencing, it is because it help us to um, to build our time management skills, which will be very helpful when we started working, or even now. It Having a time management skills is a great help to us. So since we already talk about the scheduling and sequencing, let's also talk about what is scheduling and sequencing. So scheduling, it is planning your activities so that you could be able to achieve certain goals or priorities on the time that you have. If you were able to effectively or efficiently schedule the task, you can easily finish the task that you currently or that you have. And sequencing, it is to plan the order of the operation by process. So that means if it is a step by step on how you will be able to achieve the schedule or the task, the following scheduled task that you have. So yeah, it is order of tasks to be done in chain. So you will not be scattered all over the place when you are making tasks. So regarding to scheduling and the application and approaches, it will be reported by Mr. Nico.
Task 1. Scheduling application and approach. Who's responsible for creating schedules? Ito yung mga human resources, managers or head department, workforce scheduler, and operation manager. At ito naman yung mga ginagamit nila pang mga apps paggawa ng mga schedule. Ito yung mga spreadsheet, software package, web-based tools. At with this, magkakaroon ng assigned task or activities sa isang company wherein magkakaroon ng organized schedule ang bawat gagawing events. Task 2. What is staff scheduling? The process of assigning staff to tasks during a shift. Ito yung pag-process sa isang staff sa mga shift nila. And why staff scheduling? Attempts to match available personnel with the needs of organization, ensure to follow legal compliance, and determine labor costs. And how staff scheduling? Accurately forecasting demand and translating into quantity and timing of work to be done. And determining the staffing required to perform the work to be done. And determining the personnel available in the full and part-time mix. And last, match, matching capacity to demand requirements and developing a work schedule that maximize service and minimize costs. Sabi daw dito, pagkakaroon ng assigned staff sa isang company wherein imamatch ang job title or rank ng mga empleyado sa mga gagawin sa company at dito magkakaroon ng right costing and enough costing when it comes to financial standard of the company. At dito din malalaman kung kailangan pa magdagdag ng staff or enough na bang empleyado sa mga work job to each department. Yan. Next, task 3 sa staff scheduling ay unang-una ay unnecessary overtime. Ito yung pagkakaroon ng higit pa sa 8 hours a day ang working load wherein hindi kailangan kasi may mga staff naman naka-assign per work schedule. Next is last minute scheduling. Ito yung pagkakaroon ng task kung saan hindi kasama sa unang schedule o inabol lang na schedule. Yon. And next, shortage of employees. Kakulangan sa pagkakaroon ng mga empleyado wherein nagko-compromise ng ibang gawain or task sa isang empleyado nang nagkaroon ng double task na dapat ng isang empleyado ay nakapokus lang sa kanyang job title. Yon. Ito naman. Next is wrong person and role for the shift. Ito yung nagkakaroon ng wrong person of the role sa isang company dahil hindi ito nakukuha ng tamang job title. Para dito, halimbawa na lang, ang HR person ay napunta sa finance line. Dahilan ng kakulangan ng staff, hindi nagkakaroon ng maling task sa isang department sa pag-switch ng role. Yun. Next, no call or no show employee. Ito yung absent lang, tsaka at hindi pag-inform sa head niya ng hindi pagpasok at hindi pag-text or pag-email. Yun, sa isang trabaho. Next is overscheduling. Doing too many activities or events in a company which leads to stress and doing poor decision making, issues with co-work and other wrongdoing of an employee. Yun ang nangyayari. Yan.
And with that, as part of the scheduling application and approaches, let us talk about on method on creating employee schedule. As you can see here, the following methods are: first, list the needs of for each shift. So we need to know kung sino-sino yung mga kailangan nating role para sa mga specific task na gagawin for that day. Anticipate demand and check the due date of task. So if ever that you are working in service business, so we have to anticipate the demand on how many customer, or yeah, on how many customer that we will be receiving on that day. Or if you are on more on a admin task, we have to make sure that we are able to check the due date of the task that we need to um, do on within the week or within the day. And collect employee preference. And we all know that when you started working, there are different kind of schedules. There are shifting schedule, fixed schedule. It depends on the company or on the business, on what the business needs. Usually, this collect employee preference. This is mostly used um, for those who have shifting schedule. So if ever the employee preferred to work in a night shift and weekend off, it could be the scheduler or the managers could check it, and then yeah, it will be used for the references and research or be aware about the laws and regulations, since we cannot just create schedules. We cannot just hindi we cannot just make the employees work 7 days a week, or work more than 8 hours a week, or let them work for 4 hours a week or 3 hours a week. It doesn't work that way. So we need to know what is the laws and regulation to avoid any penalties or anything from the that could be able that will harm the business as well. So yeah, we will need to know those things and use scheduler maker or application to create the schedule. So most of the time may mga ginagamit na application for this on creating schedules, and some of it is Excel, and there are application like Rike, and I think it was given or in example na siya kanina ni reporter Nico. So yeah. And and lastly, we have to post the schedule ahead of time. Hindi pwedeng ngayong araw, ngayong araw is nag-post tayo ng schedule, and then their schedule will be tomorrow at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. We have to make sure to post the schedule ahead of time to avoid no call, no show. So now let's talk about appointment system. What is appointment system? It's a reservation for service, time, and capacity. And appointment system was also called as a booking system or appointment booking system, or also appointment management software. It's a solution wherein it makes things for service provider it make things easy for service provider to manage when it comes to appointments. And there are four decisions to the for this appointment system as well. The first one is determine the appointment time arrival, determine the length of each workday and time of duty, decide how to handle overbooking, and also develop customer appointment rules that maximize customer satisfaction. So why do we need to have an appointment system? So one of the reason is it ensures fewer scheduling errors and miscommunication when it comes to having an appointment, especially when when there are no show or no show or cancellation of appointments. And it also saves time, money, and resources when it comes to work, since instead of for para sa mas madaling salita, it's the the aim of appointment system is to help the company regarding to on allocating the amount of time when it comes to the task, as well on the following on the appointment um, that they receive, and having a better time management, since we were able to have a there will be less errors as well as less no show and cancellation. And since we could be able to save time, money, and resources, we could be able to have a better time management, and yeah, work more efficiently regarding to the other projects that we could be able to work on. And lastly, we will be talking about schedule monitoring and control. Usually, businesses use Gantt chart. It is kind of a bar chart where it shows the start and finish date, and It is also a graphical depiction of a project schedule. And there's an example on the screen as well regarding to the project status. As you can see, there are task 1, task 2, task 3, and on the task 1, there are 3 sub-activities that different people have to do. And as you can see, the first task needs to work work on from the first week to second week, and the second activity will be work on for second week to last week of week 3, and the activity 3 will consumes and from week of from the second half of the second week until the end of third week, and yeah, so on. And you will see on the task 2 there's activity 1 and 2, which will be work on week 3 to half of week 4, and activity 2 half of week 3 to week 4. So the graphical depiction that you see on the screen, that's an example of Gantt chart. And that ends the topic regarding to the scheduling. So we will going to talk about the sequencing, and as I said earlier, that sequencing is a step-by-step process regarding to a task or project on how to finish it. So yeah, the next reporter will be Miss Regina and Leo. They will going to talk about the rest of the topic regarding to sequencing.
Types of sequencing criteria. One is process focused performance criteria. Two is customer focused due date criteria. Three is cost based criteria. Process focused criteria, we have flow time and make span. Flow time is morning shift, swing, and GY. Make span is one task is for one person. If your manager have three tasks, then he will need three person to do that task. Customer focus during criteria. Lateness and tiredness. Um, Lateness is first in, first out. Then tiredness is a job lateness is calculated by subtracting the due date from the opening time. A negative number means the job is finished early. Zero is on time, and a positive number result is a late job. The number of late jobs was also determined through the analysis. Cost-based criteria are the properties of a material which provide benefit when they are minimized. Smaller, the better. Break-even pricing is another cost-based retention that calculates the minimum price that covers the fixed and variable cost of production. SPT, shortest processing time, is sequencing, maximize resources, and minimize average flow time and work in process inventory. Picking the job with the shortest processing time is processed first. EDD, earliest due date. EDD, minimize the maximum job tardiness and lateness. Picking the one with the shortest due date to work on first.
So in class 2, I'm going to explain to you about the sequencing other priority rules. So we have four. Number one is the FCFS, also known as first come first serve. Maintindihan naman natin dito na inuuna kung sino yung unang pumunta kaysa sa iba. For example, yan is sa restaurant. For example, Nico and I, pero nauna akong pumunta sa nagpa-reserve. So, ang unahin is ako kasi ako yung naunang nag-reserve kaysa kay Nico. Yan lang yung explanation nun. So, next is the LWR or the least amount of work. Ito lang naman yung parang basically process na unahin nila yung madali kasi hindi naman siya time consumable. For example, sa Filipino and English, parang mas nadadilian sila sa Filipino. Kaya ang unahin lang nila is Filipino bago gawin nila yung English. That is LWR. So, na pangatlo naman na sequencing or other priority rules is yung FNO or fewest number of operations remaining. Ang pain point naman nito is uunahin naman nila yung pinaka konting operations or gagawin or task kaysa tapos bago nila gawin yung mas madami. For example, sa school again, which is sa math and English. Sa math, mas madaming gagawin kaysa sa English. So basically, ang unahin natin is yung English kaysa sa math. Unahin natin gawin yung English bago yung math. So, yan lang naman yung explanation ng FNO. So, sa LWNQ naman is least amount of work at the next process. Q, amount of work awaiting the next process in a job sequence. So, ito yung pala yung apat na task. 2 or sequencing other priority rules. So, next slide na po tayo. And the next slide is about the application of sequencing rules, single resource sequencing problem, which is we have 3 rules or methods. So, sa examples na ito is FCFS. Before I'm going to tackle about the 3 rule na pwede nating maano sa computation is example nito, ito sa explanation na yan. As you can see sa table 1, yan na yung parang given. And then ito yung table 2, yan naman yung parang magsosolve tayo or malalaman natin kung ano talaga yung gamit ng mga tatlong rules na ito. So, unahin natin yung FCFS rule, which is naka sa table 1 and table 2, direct na siya nakakasulat, parang as is na. Kasi kung sino yung mas nauna na job or na i-present dito, which is eto na talaga siya. Bago nila ma-compute yung due date, lateness, or tardiness, for example, ganyan. Kasi nakalagay naman na sa nauna si job number 1 kaysa job number 2, so forth and so on. Kaya sa table number 2, diretso na siya. So next na tayo sa next rule is SPT rule or short processing time. Ito naman yung nakafocus sila sa processing time, kung sino yung pinaka-least or sino yung pinaka-mababa. Is yun yung unahin nila sa sequence ng application sa sequencing. So for example, na mas makita nyo sa table, sa table 1 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 yung order niya. Pero dun sa table 2, bigla siyang naging 3, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1, 4, 2 kasi nga sa table number 2, sa table number 1, ang pinaka-list na na processing time is si job number 3, which is 2 days lang siya, unlike kay job number 2 na 7 days pa yung processing time, kaya siya yung pinaka last na ginawa. Ayun. So ayan lang naman. So the lastly is the EDD rules, earliest due date, yung parang ang EDD naman kasi is yung parang uunahin naman nila yung pinaka malapit na due date. So as you can see sa table 1 ulit, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 siya, pero sa table 2 nauna na yung si number 3. Kasi bakit? Ang secret niyan is si number 3 ay 8 yung due date. So, malapit na siya kaysa sa example ni job number 4, which is 21 days. So, nauuna si job number 3 kasi 8 yung due date na malapit na kaysa sa 21 days na due date naman ni job number 4. So, ayan lang yung parang examples ng application of sequencing rules. Yan. So lastly, we are going to tackle about the application of sequencing rules with we are going to using the Johnson's rule. Ito yung parang, di ba kanina na yung na-discuss natin about is the single resource. So we are going to tackle about the two resource naman siya with using our Johnson's rule. So if we are going to start, ano ba yung Johnson's rule? So Johnson's rule is a technique that can be used to minimize the completion time for a group of jobs that are to be processed on two machines or two successive work centers. So, sa next slides natin, makikita natin yung isang yung maliit na table, which is si job, share, si punch. Si share naman kasi resource number 1 siya. So, at si punch naman, resource number 2 siya. So, Basically, ang rule ng Johnson's rule ay unahin mo muna si resource number 1 na ilagay, makita yung short processing time kaysa sa resource number 2. So basically, ganito yung sequence niya. As you can see, if you're going to put a timeline here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dapat. Pero sa Johnson's rule, here, for example, this is the resource number 1 and this is the resource number 2. We're gonna put on first the here on my left side the resource number 1 and here's the resource number 2. So bali, parang ang sequence order ng gagawin nila is parang converge, parang mag-meet sila. Hindi diretso na paganyan na just like ibang other methods na or rules na na-explain ko kanina gaya nila EDD. Pero dito lang kasi ang main point lang nito is dito yung resource number 1, unahin mo yung short processing time nila. Kaya si like yung processing time ni share at saka processing time ni punch. So, for example, na nakalagay dito sa table natin na si 5 yung nauna dito sa resource number 5 kasi siya yung pinaka short sa Johnson's rule kasi processing time yung kukunin natin. So, si job number 5 ay may 2 short processing times. So, dito na siya ilalagay dito sa side. Kaya nakuha si 5. So, basically, dito naman sa research number 2, ang pinakamababa is si job number 2. One processing time lang siya. So, dito siya. Kasi nga, hindi pwedeng mauuna si resource number 2 kaysa kay resource number 1. Kasi unahin natin schedule si resource number 1 base sa nakalagay sa PowerPoint natin. So, nakita nyo naman na may 5 space 2. Dahil, ang sequence nga natin dito, pa ganito siya. So, next step, kukunin pa rin natin yung short kasunod ni job number 5 na pinakamas maliit. So, nakuha natin si job number 1, which is 4 days lang. Kaya natin ilalagay natin si job number 1 dito sa resource kasi share yung resource number 1. So, ano yung susunod na resource number 2 naman ilalagay natin dito, which is si job number 3. So, may 4 days processing time lang siya. So, actually, ganun lang naman yung gagawin nyo para makuha nyo lahat yung sequence ni Johnson's rule which is, you can go dito sa side, pag ganito siya, yung mga resource number 1, get the short to long processing time. Tapos dito naman, si number 2, pag ganito naman siya, pag ganyan, which is, ang kukunin natin is yung sequencing problem, resource number 2 is pag ganyan naman siya. So, that's all. Yan parang pinaka-basic lang na point na makukuha natin kay Johnson's rule. So, ayun lang po yung report namin for the chapter 14.
And that ends our topic. So I hope that you learned something from us regarding to scheduling and sequencing. And so let's just have a quick recap and on what we learned about the topic that we have discussed from start to finish. So just a few notes as well. And so yeah, what is the importance of scheduling and sequencing in a operation management? Since for me, scheduling is a critical component for operation manager since it helps to ensure that the business services or products that are being offered was being done promptly and efficiently. So yeah, since it helps the business to minimize and maximize the profits as well as the cost that they have. So alam naman natin that the businesses cannot all of the business cannot achieve 100% productivity, but with the help of scheduling and sequencing, it could be able to help the business a lot regarding on management. And aside from that, it also help the employees to be engaged and be productive at work. So yeah, that's everything regarding to our topic, and thank you for listening.